choices. Speaking in front of people provides wonderful opportunities for me as well as for all of you. For me to get a message out to everyone listening, and for you to make one of two choices. Either bathe in my dissertation or Helen Keller my podium stance, wasting life information, delving into colloquial plans of AI-like syndication, and getting romantic with those who stabilize syncopation in our coral reef, plankton who hate the tide's different faces. Categorically, we're all separated by indignation accordingly. Those who absolutely love some tortellini and those who prefer the vanilla bean, denying sordidly even a taste of the former, thinking it was made by sorcery forgery in a flame hot lair by a man with pitchfork teeth, simply because it's different, see? But, so I've heard a thick swarm of bees is coming to kick the ornery into the deepest nothingness, peaceful punishment or something like fetal position, freefall plummeting into the sea of nothing and plunging with beach ball buoyancy. So I heard y'all want to float, to quote someone dope, which is great, because you're going till you're fully shown the ropes and soaked to the bone with nowhere to go but towards the glowing hope at the bottom of the brackish water. See, growing souls shed much ignorance prior to developing chromosomes, and as you can tell by the murky depths, there's been an overload of poking going on in the mortal world. So much hope is special, floating potential, hoping to grow to knowing folk. The resulting waiting line makes for unequal bathing time in Lake Divine, and some inadequate aging of minds. A problem greatly inclining with each day that goes by, and you can see it in the fact that we're all alienated types of beings. So it's time for an all-community meeting. Opportunities breathing down our necks, let's call unity freedom and dispel the myth of the altruism demon. It takes a collective to raise a communal fetus, so taking turns, we and nature nurture all our new releases, meaning we've got to be the greeters for the dry ones we've superseded, because we tend to think of it as self over others, when what we all really, truly, deeply desire comes from the reciprocal. Now, achieving that, is that really so difficult? Thank you.
Breaking New Alaskan Voices was, as you heard the MC say, initially designed to allow youth the space to speak their mind. And it kind of evolved into something a little larger than that now. We actually take part in an international poetry competition, which features roughly 600 youth from across the globe. Last year was the first year Alaska was able to take part in it. This will be our second year. So I'm really blessed to be able to share some of these voices with you guys tonight, even though it's in the morning. But I want to bring out someone, the second poet for this evening, and his name will be Mr. Jacob Holly Klein.
Hi, everybody. So, I was introduced to the concept of God at a very young age, and going through the years, seeing how the concepts develop, I've noticed the Westboro Baptist Church has gotten a lot of coverage. So, I've been trying to find my voice on the subject, and this is an attempt. It's called Old Houses and Diamond Rings. Once there was a girl who lived like Grace, and when she was born, her mother made her a box that said love, and in it were pictures of very old houses and love poems and diamond rings. Her mother took her to church every Sunday, and there she learned of love and acceptance and sang beautiful songs and spoke of miracles and family and met nice people. Her mother said, I love you no matter what. She took her home on the last day of her life, and she seemed like ice to the girl. One day she melted, and the girl cried and cried. Stop crying, her father said, and he heard her. She screamed into the pages of books so someone could know her pain. She breathed in love poems so that the stanzas may be trapped in her chest, so even in her sleep she'd feel the words, I love you no matter what, escape her lips. The books served no judgment, never hurt her, so her father took the books and ripped page from binding, and she saw her screams on the carpet for the first time, for she had no more to scream, and she lay awake at night, protected only by her blankets, and she would talk to her mother. Hi, Mom. I miss you. She woke up at the age of 17. Her screams long gone, but all the boys were looking at her, but she couldn't look in the mirror. She had forgotten what she looked like, but it was the morning of her birth that she met a boy. He talked of love and acceptance and sang her beautiful songs and spoke of miracles and family, and he was very nice. He was born 17 years ago, but she had died long before. For the first time, she felt her heartbeat. She liked the boy very much. She went home that night and touched her hair and lips and cheeks and neck and felt like a princess again. She felt her mother's words, "I love you no matter what," stuck in her throat, but it couldn't be true. So she swallowed that page with love poems, and what dissolved in that place was the very same. She didn't want to believe there was something worth living for, because surviving to get that meant living for more than survival. And she had lived for so long by the skin of her teeth that everything tasted of blood and wine. And in such a land as that of blood and merlot, there holds dominion beings of sound and stone who speak through the deserts and bleed mountaintops. But how can a creature who bleeds stone live in mortal form? She thought then the boy to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, wanting nothing more than to slaughter her shepherds and roam forever a road with a bloody oil lamp, where he might tear from the chest of an innocent, or still being hard with it in his hand, say, "I don't bleed like you." She felt that heart in her chest, and she cut. She could feel the words leak from her wrist, and it was very dark now. She felt alive again, but her father found her. A stringless marionette whose puppeteer carried her in the strongest of arms to let her strings loose. He whispered, "Please, please, 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 don't die." He said, "Please, Lord, bless my child. Help her find the strength from within to carry on. Lord, 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 please, speak to me." She heard a voice. "I'll always be with you." And she jumped, knocking her father back to the blood pool behind him, and she ran through blackest and rain-soaked night to the boy. She came to him in tears. He said, "What's wrong?" She said, "God lives inside of me," and she falls to the ground, and he takes her about the arms. "God lives inside of all of us," he says. "You can taste his word in the desperately desolate sections of breath. Those quiet and silent and peaceful moments where only your mind rumbles in your skull, that's where God is. It doesn't matter if you want him there. He'll pay his rent through your kindness, and once he checks in, he'll never leave, but he'll be a good patron and keep your soul immaculate, so there's no reason to cry, because moments of silence and blank pages are God's words. And you'll live in moments like that seem never-ending and forevers that go by too quickly, because to understand your soul is to understand the end of forever, the forever-ending, because you'll never understand there's only acceptance. And he lives inside of you and everyone who's ever lived and those who shall. Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, agnostic, atheist, no matter what you believe or don't believe, God will let you know he's there when you kiss a loved one, help a friend in need, laugh or cry or love or hate or scream or whisper. Thus spoke the boy. He said, "God bleeds stone, and from his wounds came the mountains." And she asked, "Who did God bleed for?" "He bled for us." God's skin shed the sand, his tears made the ocean. He leans to her ear. "I looked into your eyes and I saw the ocean." She heard his heartbeat. It sounded like a church service. She cried. He said, "I love you, no matter what." She saw a clear sky. There were mountains. On top of those mountains, beings of sound and stone who bleed to bring life. She thought the mountains to be closer to God than anything else. He hugged her tighter than they ever had before, and those beings spoke to her, saying, "We'll always be with you."
I have been bragging to friends about the students I've been meeting at the high schools, who all enjoy this whole writing thing just as I do. They fight for and cling tight to their First Amendment rights too. When they get pissed, their pants bleed fury like minds do. Now, mind you, these are kids, expanding our mind's view. They've made it clear that tubes and tombs do not have their minds screwed. You will find fools who will ignore them, but in hind's view, they find the truth has been before them through fine youth. Our fine tooth filters out the divine few who will worship at the altar of the ballpoint pen. My name is Kima Hamilton. I'm one of the co-founders, mentor coaches of the Alaskan Voices, and it's been an incredible experience, as you've witnessed with the first two poets, and as Trey Jose expressed, it's what we've been working on is just trying to create a safe space for the kids to share and exchange information and share their stories and learn from each other and teach each other. And it's been a 2-year love of labor of love. I wanted to talk about what we're working towards rather briefly. Finals night, every year we intend to bring a group of Alaskan youth to the National Poetry Slam. The National Poetry Festival which is a gathering of writers and performance poets from around the world. And they converge on the city, and they network and fellowship, and then they redisperse to their hometowns and get back to the work at hand. So with that said, finals night is April 28th at Out North Theater, and that's where we'll have, I think right now we have a pool of maybe 20, 25 poets from around the state of Alaska, and that night we'll select the team of 6 who will go with us to San Francisco, California in July and represent Alaska at the National Poetry Slam. Last year, we brought our very first team to represent Alaska, and one of the team members is going to be sharing with you next. So if you will, help me welcome Ashley Twyford to the stage, please.
This is a childlike wonder. Do you remember the days when the snow that was left on the trees during spring sometimes resembled birds? Or when the breeze in those same trees during the summer could for a split second make it look like the leaves were revealing faces, just like the kinds you'd see in the Find It puzzles? Do you remember when the beams of light that came off the street lamps resembling us strings attaching to your car windshields, pulling you down the streets to wherever you were going, safe and sound? If I showed you a page riddled with triangles and told you they were mountains, could you imagine them so? I wonder, do you still see teddy bears and dolphins among other shapes in the clouds? Do you still be impressed by a warm rainy day followed by brilliant rainbows? Could you still consider the magic? Do you see such brilliant colors in flight? Would you claim that it's nothing but reflections of light on water? Pass it by. Continue with day-to-day life. I hope that you can always ask questions and stay curious. You will be older and think yourself wiser, but stay in a childlike wonder. I hope you will always know from your hair to your shoe soles that beauty can be found wherever you go. I hope you can always learn. Learn with ambition and passion to go beyond thinking outside the box. I want you to blaspheme those limits. Know that the box is not even part of existence. I hope you can remember that you can smile like when you were younger. You're growing up, but know when you're out of your imagination. Hope you can always. I want you to look around this world in awe. Believe that it's not ignorance to seek happiness in every situation, but still have the content to know that life isn't simple, and still be smart enough to take each issue with a grain of salt. I hope you can love that back when you were a kid. Remember, without conviction, everything was so innocent. Your eyes, ears, and minds open, just like the doors that are waiting to bring you to new blunders, but that's okay. There's no reason to be scared. It's just another childlike wonder.
Another mission and goal of Brave New Alaskan Voices is not to only just be centered in the Anchorage area, we're actually also pushing to stretch across the rest of Alaska. We believe that every region is unique and the youth have unique voices. And part of our mission is to make sure that we can share those voices not only with Greater Alaska, but also internationally and at nationals for poetry. So the next step of our movement will be to spread across Alaska. After that, we'll be having finals night, April 28th. You'll see some of the youth that you were able to see here tonight, and there will also be 22 other youth poets that will be performing that night. So we're hoping that some of you guys can make it out there with us. And I'm going to hand the mic to Keith Hampton, who is the co-coach.
Yeah. Definitely want to come out to finals night tomorrow afternoon at Organic Oasis. Ethan and Jacob. Ethan's going to be featuring, but tomorrow there'll be a youth open mic for some of you, the youth in the audience who may share. Tomorrow there's a youth open mic at Organic Oasis where Jacob will be hosting, Ethan will be featuring, and then finals night. We need volunteers, we need support, just whatever you frequency you think you can assist us on, or want to become a part of the event. We'd love to have you there.